Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, December 11, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of the tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar at the bottom of the video to skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most. Utilize the timestamps as well that are in the video description as well as the comment section. There is no need for you guys to be sitting down and watching the entire 30 to 50 minute video if you have other things to do. Just skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the dads were like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at the Global Tropics Hazards Outlook from the US Climate Prediction Center. And this just came out on Tuesday evening. And it's highlighting that for the time period from December 18 to December 24, there's going to be some above normal rainfall probability across the Caribbean, as you can see by the light shades of greens, especially right there across the southwestern Caribbean where you see the darker shades of greens. And even the time period from December 25 to December 31, we'll still see that we're going to be having an increase in the amount of rainfall, stretching all the way from the Leeward Islands across into portions of southern Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, as well as Jamaica, all the way down into the southwestern Caribbean. We're talking about Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia. Very interesting. We know all of those light shades to dark shades of greens represent a 50% to a 65% chance of above average rainfall. So that's quite interesting. And it definitely coincides with what the long range models were showing at the end of November. So let's see if it actually verifies as well. Alright, so we're going to be looking at the next 7 days in terms of what the Euro and the GFS supercomputer models are showing. As usual, we're just going to be going on to the next 168 hours, so keep your eyes focused at the timestamp right here. Keep your eyes focused on the Caribbean right here. For reference, you have Jamaica right here. And look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. The reds, oranges, yellows, greens, that represent inches of rainfall. So let us see, excuse me, what the next 7 days hold. Alright, so as we can see heading into Thursday, definitely have some lingering isolated showers, especially across the northeast. Continuing into Friday, rainfall definitely on the increase for sure, especially across northeastern parishes. Saturday even more wet, and we see a lot more moisture coming into play across eastern Cuba, Hispaniola, northeastern Jamaica. Sunday we still see a lot of moisture across northeastern Jamaica, a lot of the moisture to the north of the eastern Caribbean with those dark shades of greens and yellows that represent all the way from 2 to 5, maybe even 6 inches of rainfall. That's crazy. And we see a lot of moisture in and around Jamaica into the Cayman Islands heading into Monday, heading into Tuesday. We still see much of the same, and we're going to be stopping it right there at 12:00 on Wednesday, December 18. That's 7 a.m. And we don't see much rainfall across Jamaica at that time, but we do see a lot of rainfall right there across the western Caribbean, the waters to the south of Jamaica, the waters to the northeast of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, the Leeward Islands. Lots of rainfall in store. Well, let us match it to what the latest GFS model that just came out an hour ago is showing. Alright, so we can definitely see that as we head into Thursday, just like what the Euro was showing, some rainfall for northeastern Jamaica. Friday, even more rainfall for northeastern Jamaica. Look at the broad area of low pressure, that's the trough right there to the north of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. Lots of greens, lots of moisture, and we can see all of the moisture associated with it right here to the east or the northeast of the Caribbean. We've been talking about this huge batch of shower and thunderstorm activity, and all of this is pushing westward. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what actually unfolds. Either way, we see that it's going to be coming very close to the Greater Antilles, definitely lashing portions of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Eastern Cuba, the Bahamas for sure. Some of this moisture could definitely make it into the Jamaica area, but nothing too drastic like what the waters of the northern portions of North Atlantic are going to be receiving. And then we're going to be stopping right there at 18th on Wednesday, December 18th. So let us look for some similarities and differences. Alright, so in terms of similarities, yes, we see that rainfall across the Western Caribbean affecting the Yucatan Peninsula and Central America. In terms of differences, we don't see Puerto Rico and the Leeward Islands getting on that huge amount of rainfall that we saw in the Euro. GFS has most of that rainfall off to the northeast of the Caribbean. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what unfolds eventually. Either way, both accumulated precipitation forecast maps are showing that there's going to be a lot of rainfall in store for the open waters of the Atlantic. Look at all of those dark reds, purples, pinks to the north of the Eastern Caribbean. That's a lot of rainfall for the fish. You can also see a lot of rainfall still in store for portion of Belize, Guatemala, northern Honduras, sections of southeastern Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, section of Colombia, western Venezuela, eastern Venezuela, as well as Guyana too. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this. And regarding the close-up of Jamaica in terms of the rainfall, the Euro has been very robust with the rainfall totals, showing the greens into the yellows into the oranges. They represent all the way up to 83 millimeters of rainfall for northeastern Jamaica. And keep in mind that this is valid for all of the rainfall being shown from now up until December 18, Wednesday, December 18 at that. The GFS still reserved with the rainfall totals, showing up to at least the greens that represent 20 all the way up to maybe close to 30 millimeters of rainfall for especially the same spot, northeastern Jamaica for sure. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have that huge trough right here to the east of the Caribbean. We can see the frontal system that's currently plaguing the eastern portion of the United States. The clouds have definitely been plaguing portion of Central America even as we speak. And if we take a look back at the infrared, as a matter of fact, let's look at the visible satellite images. We can make out all of these entities. We can see the clouds associated with the trough right here. Let me see. Here we go. The clouds associated with the trough right here, as well as the clouds associated with the frontal system, stretching all the way down into portions of Central America. They're definitely getting nailed over there in Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, northern Guatemala as well. And we can see all of the deep convection even better on the infrared satellite images. Look at those colors. We're talking about the yellows, oranges, the reds. Lots of shower and thunderstorm activity across the waters to the northeast of the Caribbean right here. And lots of shower and thunderstorm activity across the eastern United States, down into Florida, the Yucatan Peninsula, northern Guatemala, and Belize. And we saw all of that on the visible satellite images as well. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean today later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Wednesday, December 11, 2024. It was stated that parts of eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica would have received some afternoon rainfall on Wednesday. And we know afternoon rainfall usually, it's bound to take place when you have the daytime heating. That's that diurnal convection. So either way, it was more susceptible to affect sections of eastern, central, and western Jamaica. We're talking about Surrey County, parishes like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, when we're talking about Middlesex County, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. Western parishes, we're talking about Cornwall County, so St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. But what ended up happening? At 3:26 p.m., the visible satellite image was posted on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, but they're also made on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica. on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as you may post throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can definitely see that at around that time during the afternoon, we were getting in on some clouds, bring some overcast skies and some isolated showers to sections of Portland, especially western Portland, sections of St. Andrew, sections of St. Catherine, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth. It definitely got in on some of the action. And an hour later, the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted, highlighting the same. The Cuban Doppler radar images show the actual rainfall. Rainfall is represented by the greens into the yellows. The greens represent moderado, that's moderate rainfall. The yellows represent fuerte, that's strong to heavy rainfall. And we definitely saw the heavy rainfall lashing portions of St. Elizabeth, Manchester. We also saw some of the rainfall across sections of St. Catherine, section of St. Andrew, as well as sections of western Portland for sure. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before all was said and done with the day, we can definitely make out that flow coming in more so from the east-northeast. Definitely brought some clouds, bring some isolated showers to sections of the very areas that were predicted to get it. Eastern, central, and western Jamaica for sure. We're talking about western Portland, sections of St. Catherine right here. And then we saw the thunderstorm activity that definitely lashed portions of Manchester and St. Elizabeth. Some of these high cold cloud tops being sheared off towards the east. And we can see all of that even better on the infrared, showing the high cold cloud tops being pushed off to the east by that upper level wind shear. See the greens into the yellows, oranges, and we also see the sparkling white dots that represents the amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, across those areas. So we definitely had some isolated thunder shower activity due to the diurnal convection that took place. If we take a look at what took place on the See Jamaica's live cam of Crossroads, we can see that at around 2:24 p.m. all we saw was the clouds definitely overcasting or taking over the hills of northern St. Andrew. Right here across Crossroads, definitely there. Look at all the traffic. Christmas traffic is definitely here, but definitely saw that it was sunny for the most part. Not much in the way of a rainfall at all. If we take a look at some of the comments here, we can see Antonique Leachman 4504 on our YouTube page sitting cloudy in St. Catherine 2 hours ago. And even on our Instagram page, we had a comment coming in. One right here from God's Gift _ Michelle sitting close, almost wet up because I didn't check in. Glad you checked in. And finally, we have Edwards Tanisha stating, felt like the sun was on top of my house all day, but finally rain here down in South Manchester. Alright, so that indeed confirms the rainfall in Manchester for today. And if we take a look at what's happening right now, the live still image from the Weather Nerds website, look at what we're seeing. I'm pretty sure that persons in St. Elizabeth, Manchester, and Clarendon are having quite the light show. Some thunderstorms right now. This is as of 00:15 UTC. So this just came out at 7:15 p.m. Considering that it's 7:23 p.m. now, so that just came out 8 minutes ago. Can definitely see some thunderstorms lashing the waters to the south of Manchester, to the southwest of Clarendon, to the south of St. Elizabeth as well. Let us see if we can match that to the latest Cuban Doppler radar images. If it's gonna be loading or not gonna be loading. Seems like the last Cuban Doppler radar image was as of 5:20 p.m. Boy, Cuban Doppler radar images just keep glitching out. But we can make out all of that rainfall that's causing the lightning to the south of St. Elizabeth and Manchester. Some of it was already out to sea by that time. We see the greens into the yellows. They represent some moderate to heavy rainfall. Let us see if we can make it out or make out whatever is happening on the other Doppler radar images. This is the Guantanamo Bay Cuban naval radar imagery, we can make out some rainfall to the west of Guantanamo Bay, some moderate to heavy rainfall at that. We can also make out some rainfall extending from the western tip of Haiti all the way down close to equal distance between Jamaica and Haiti. We see some moderate to heavy rainfall right there. But let us see what's happening on the Cayman radar. Let's see, will it reload for me? Let me reload it myself. Alright, so I think we can make out a speck of rainfall right there to the southwest of St. Elizabeth to match up with what we're seeing on the Doppler radar as well as the satellite image. You can also see some rainfall right here to the far southwest of the Cayman Islands as well. Taking a look at the very latest from See Jamaica's YouTube channel. By the way, if you'd like to see more live streams like this, showing Crossroads, Halfway Tree, the Kingston Harbor, Barbican, just subscribe to See Jamaica. They have this live stream running every single day and it's all for free. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. So we can see right now the Barbican camera not showing much of anything taking place in terms of bad weather. Definitely fair condition progressing, and this should continue throughout the night. And we can also see people in their vehicles going about their business. Some people walking here going about their business as well. Taking a look at the temperature right now, we can see that we have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Thursday, temperature should have down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18D on Thursday when calculated. That's about 1 p.m. on Thursday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in gray colors for the most part. And we know the gray colors are representative of what we see on the key on the right. That's 0. That represents average temperatures. We're not talking about the yellows or the oranges or the reds that represent above normal temperatures. We're not talking about the blues into the greens that represents below normal temperatures. So it should be average temperatures for Jamaica on Thursday. And we know the average temperature for the month of December across Jamaica are around 87 degrees Fahrenheit. 87 degrees Fahrenheit when calculated to Celsius is about 30.6 degrees Celsius. So it should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 30.6 degrees Celsius atmosphere Jamaica temperature on Thursday. And if that's going to be a bit too hot for you, it could be exacerbated if you live in these areas that are going to be affected by a maintenance outage. According to my JPS Online's Twitter page, they've stated that Freetown and Sandy Bay in Clarendon are going to be experiencing a maintenance outage between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Thursday, December 12. Also, Garden Close in St. Andrew, that's for 1:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. as well as Hampton Road, Broadleaf, Brownstown, Melrose, Mews, Comfort, Webbers, Royal Flat section, and all other roads leading off. That's in the parish of Manchester for the same date, Thursday, December 12, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. So if you live or work in those areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in those areas, let them know that a power outage is coming their way. And we know that it's definitely going to be exacerbating the heat. Maybe not necessarily in Manchester where it's always cool, but maybe the other parishes, and we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. It's definitely a problem. And we still have here some tips to beat the heat. Always ensure that you dress down, wear lightweight clothing, and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors, and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine, as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to always stay hydrated. Put away the sugary drinks. Excuse me. Drink water instead. Alright. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can see the dry air is represented by what we see on the key on the bottom. And that's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we see that we have a lot of dry air stretching all the way across the main development region into the Caribbean right here. Lots of dry air, especially across the Gulf of Mexico. We can see that, and we see the moist air in the blue is where we have the clouds. Lots of moist air where we have that huge trough, and a lot of moist air where we have that frontal system stretching into Central America from the east coast of the United States. So wherever we have the moist air, that's where we're going to be having the most in the way for rainfall. And regarding the actual Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Thursday, let us see. We can see the most in the Saharan dust is squashed to the southern portion of the main development region, some of which is spilling into portions of the northeastern sections of South America right there. But we're glad that majority of it that has been pushing to the west has been dwindling the more west it goes. We know the vigorous plume of dust, as represented by the dark shades of browns, can definitely cause very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses, asthma, sinusitis in some persons. So we're indeed grateful that the more west it goes, the more it dwindled. And we only hope that all of us here in the Caribbean, Jamaica right here, will continue to, be without Saharan dust for the rest of the year. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that the highest waves are represented by all of the purples. The purples represent anywhere from 2 maybe up to 3 meter wave height. We see a lot of that across the area between the Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba, a lot of that to the north of Panama right here. And we see a lot of that right here as well to the north of the Eastern Caribbean. While the waters in and around Jamaica should be getting in on 1.2 meter wave heights on both the north and the south coast, while all of that is due to the fact that the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 9 knots on the north coast to 8 knots on the south coast. But strong winds are expected across the northwestern Caribbean, where the waves are being kicked up 23 knots over there to the west of the Cayman Islands. Across the eastern Caribbean, let's see if we can make it out. That's what, 14 knots. And we see the general flow for these winds coming in from the northeast. So it's definitely setting up the stage for some rainfall across the northeastern parishes of Jamaica, again with that relief rainfall. And we can see an even better view right here at the close-up, showing that northeasterly flow. We know what usually happens. You have that relief rainfall causing the clouds to pile up into section of St. Anne, St. Mary, and especially Portland. And we might just get in on some more of that taking place for tomorrow. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 4 p.m. on Thursday. We didn't see much rain for the morning, but as stated, that doesn't mean that it can't happen. Even this morning, I thought I saw some rainfall across northern and eastern Jamaica, even although it wasn't predicted. So it could definitely happen in the morning for northern and eastern parishes. But we see that there's going to be a consensus for some afternoon rainfall across eastern St. Thomas, section of Portland, section of St. Mary. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with that, even although the Euro is trying to incorporate sections of St. Anne, St. Andrew, but the GFS not so much. Either way, both accumulated precipitation forecast maps are adamant that northeastern Jamaica will get the brunt of the rainfall within the next 24 hours. Euro showing up to 0.23 of an inch of rainfall in Portland. GFS showing up to at least 0.36 of an inch of rainfall. Either way, we'll take it. We're in the dry season now. We're in the month of December. During December, Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, will usually receive up to 25 millimeters of rainfall. That's about an inch of rainfall. In Montego Bay, we usually receive close to 4 inches of rainfall. That's about 90 millimeters of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives throughout the year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com. And you can use this nice hydrographic criteria that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can definitely see some low level flow coming in from the northeast. Some low level flow. Definitely bringing some isolated showers section of the Leeward Islands. You can see a lot of clouds bring some rainfall to the section of Trinidad and Tobago. Some of this could possibly be spilling into section of Grenada, Guyana, eastern Venezuela. Lots of rainfall associated excuse me, with that frontal system into Belize, northern Guatemala, sections of the Yucatan Peninsula, as well as section of Florida and the eastern US as we speak. And if we take a closer look in terms of the Doppler radar images across the northeastern Caribbean, let us see what's happening. First of all, we see a lot of rainfall across the east coast of the United States, stretching down all the way down into Florida, as well as sections of Cuba, going over here into sections of, well, Mexico, but we're not seeing the Mexican radar on this Doppler radar. But what we're seeing is the northeastern Caribbean, and we can make out some hit or miss isolated shores to the north of Puerto Rico, to the southeast of Puerto Rico, in and around St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda. Montserrat getting in on some of the action. Loading these images from earlier today, we can definitely make out that flow from the northeast that we spoke about. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, not seeing much happening across Barbados right now. We can see some rainfall coming in, some sprinkles from the northeast, some moderate to heavy rainfall to the east of Barbados, to the south of Barbados. You can see some of that passing through St. Vincent to the Grenadines as we speak, some of it passing through Grenada too, right here in and around Trinidad and Tobago, especially southern and eastern Trinidad getting lashed as we speak. And if we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can make out that rainfall across southern or southeastern Florida, western Cuba, sections of Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, northern Guatemala getting lashed by some heavy rainfall, section of the ABC Islands getting on some of the rainfall too, as well as sections of Colombia. And if we take a look at the weather view in terms of where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, we can see if it's not already raining now, it's definitely going to be expected within the next 24 hours across sections of the northern portion of the Bahamas, section of central to western Cuba, the Yucatan Peninsula, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, sections of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, western, northern and eastern Venezuela, the ABC Islands, section of Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, sections of Barbados, St. Lucia. Looking at the other one, we see rainfall for Guadeloupe and areas north of there. We're talking about Antigua and Barbuda, St. Bart's, Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, even section of western portion of Hispaniola. We're talking about Haiti, eastern Cuba as well. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.